MMA Oddsbreaker, of course, Frank Trigg. That, of course, it's one of my favorite interviews. Leonard Garcia getting ready to fight Damon Jackson, coming up on Legacy Fighting Championships 33, July 18th. Can be seen, of course, in America on Access Television. I just finished up my interview with Damon Jackson. He's 8-0. You've, I mean, come on, you're Leonard Garcia. You're 18 and 11. You've been around the game. Do you really look at a guy at 8-0 as being worthy enough to be able to fight you on national television? I mean, it's kind of like there's this chain. Let me explain to you first before you answer. There's this chain right now going on with all the fight organizations outside the UFC, Bellator, Legacy Fighting Championships, Titan, MFC, 18 and 10, 18 and 9, 6 versus 6 and 0 versus 8-0. Like, it seems to be like this constant theme where these guys are undefeated and they're giving them this big step up in competition to see if they're actually have the guts and have the game to be undefeated still. Do you really see him, Damon, really being in your league right now?
I think he's done what he has to do. I actually think he's the toughest matchup for me right now at 145 for Legacy. And the build up to this fight was he was at my last fight when Shane Howe pulled out, and I heard he was in the audience and he was saying I would have fought him. All they had to do was call me. So I don't take things personally, but I've kind of felt like, okay, this guy thinks he can beat me. So, being that wrestling was my Achilles heel in the past, I feel like he might have, he feels like, oh, I've got an edge. I've got something that he's had problems with, so I can give this guy problems. The thing is, just like you said, I've been around the block, man. I've fought some of the best wrestlers out there, and he's never fought anybody like me. He's never fought anybody who's going to bring the fight every minute of the fight. I respect the kid a lot. I think he's a great athlete. I see that he works hard. I believe he's the wrestling coach at his gym. But with all that being said, he's got to get in there. I'm going to turn it into a fight. And I'm looking forward to it. I want to prove to people that wrestling won't be a problem for me anymore.
You're on a five-fight losing streak, get released by the UFC, find a new home in Legacy Fighting Championships, and now we're on a 3-fight winning streak. This potentially could be your 4th. When is the UFC going to call you back to come in? They are looking for fighters at 145. They need fighters at 145. You're obviously dynamic. You're polarizing. Fans love you or hate you. People are going to get behind you or people are not going to get behind you, and that's exactly what they need the weight class. But it seems like to me that to me, it looks like you're 1 or 2 fights away. This victory could be the victory, or one way after this victory could be the victory that the UFC comes calling. Are you getting the same sense from your management team that's saying they're starting to talk to us a little bit more? They're starting to get wise to us.
What's funny, man, is I just got off the phone with my manager, and Bellator is actually throwing their hat in the game. They actually made a really good offer. I'll have to talk it over with Sean. I had an offer to come back to the UFC, but told that I might be benched for 6 months because the 45ers that they do have are already on paper, on cards. The important thing to me right now is my family, man. If my family doesn't have food, then I can't make things work, man. That's the main thing for me is to keep busy. So I opted out of the UFC to sit for 6 months and to fight Damon Jackson, defend my title. And, it was just a better fit for me. I'm getting older. I figure the busier I stay, the younger I'll keep young. It's like my fountain of youth.
If the UFC said, look, we're going to have to bench you for 6 months, but we're going to give you a signing bonus that's going to come out of your first fight, as opposed to we're going to give you like half of your show-up money as a signing bonus right now, and then you'll get the other half when you fight, would you have gone back to the UFC?
I asked how much money could be given to me, to hold me over for the 6 months, and I was told that there's other fighters that are in the UFC on the payroll right now that have been waiting for fights for 5 months and are going to continue to wait for another 3 to 4 months, and they aren't getting money. So if they were to give me money, that would be a black eye to them on the other side. So, I did the smartest thing.
I don't worry about them. That's them. That was their deal. That was their management team did that deal. This is my management team doing this deal. It's a different deal. Like, who cares? It's, I understand. I understand what Joe Silva and well, in this case Sean Shelby is saying, but come on. It's there is money to be given to guys. You got to find a way for a guy to eat. And it's not like he's giving you. It's not like they're giving you. My suggestion was, I'm just throwing numbers out there, ladies and gentlemen. These are not the numbers that Leonard Garcia is being offered from the UFC. Do I have any idea what the numbers are being offered? I do not know. But if they're going to offer you $100,000 to show up for your first fight, that's your show up money. You get another $100,000 if you win that fight, your first fight. Then you go, okay, well, give me $50,000 right now so I can live for 6 months, so I can provide for my family. Then give me the other $50,000 once I go out and show up and make weight for that first fight. And it's not really a signing bonus then. You just give me my show up money first. Half my show up money first,
and that was negotiation talks. That was everything. And basically, man, I just got, not even the cold shoulder. It just basically told me, he's like, look, we're trying to bring you back. We want you on the Mexico card. It's very important for us to get you on there. I think it would be great for you, great for us. But at the end of the day, I mean, granted, my other two kids, they're 13 and 11, and they live, with their mother. But my 3-year-old daughter lives with me. She's reliant on her dad. My wife works as well. But you got your woman bringing home the bacon. It just doesn't feel good. So I was like, man, look, I'm gonna stay busy. I'm gonna fight whoever Legacy puts in front of me, and I'm gonna bring the best fight to their show, and I'm gonna continue to do what I've been doing. It's been working for me. Everything works out. You'll still want me after this fight, so we'll talk then.
No disrespect to Mick Maynard, of course, is one of my very close friends, and his wife Andrea. But Legacy Fighting Champs is the minor leagues. Which is where they want to be. They don't want to battle and try to be in the big leagues with UFC. But now with someone Scott Coker over at Bellator, you're the first athlete I've talked to since he's gone in that has said, look, Bellator is not calling me. And the UFC had called me just before this fight as well. So now there's going to be big bidding wars. It's just not going to happen. Obviously, there's small bidding wars for some of these fighters. A small bid for Leonard Garcia at Bellator, a small bid from the UFC to get Leonard Garcia over there as well. And now let's see what happens, how it shakes out. Is it refreshing now that Bjorn Remney is gone out of Bellator and Scott Coker is over there? Is it more? Do you feel the difference as an athlete? Do you feel it? And you're not even part of the organization. You're on the outside. Do you feel that difference?
Absolutely, man. The fact that Scott actually reached out to my management team and told them, look, we understand the UFC's interested. We understand things are going well for him right now, but we want to offer him. We want him as well. And Scott, man, he's always been a great guy to me. I've known him for a lot of years, and he always shoots straight forward. So that's the kind of guys I like to work for. I mean, Sean Shelby shoots straight forward. Yeah. Mick shoots straight forward. Bjorn, we had our ups and downs, man, and we really never even had a relationship. It was just kind of like they offered me a contract. I went on record to say that I didn't take it. Then he reneged and said, "Oh, I didn't offer him that contract." So it's kind of a weird deal. And I was like, yeah, that blew Bellator completely out of the water. But now that I know it's going to be ran by somebody who actually knows the fight game and has done it successfully before, I mean, man, I'm going to go wherever my family eats the best.
Yeah, and I got to agree with you. And that's the time. And you're at that level now where you can do that. And it's not great choices. You're not making $1 million choices, but you can make $100,000 choice, which can provide for the family for a long time. And that's a big deal. Now, obviously, we saw BJ Penn retire this last weekend. He fought, he got out. Then that was on Sunday. Then Jens Pulver comes out today, Tuesday, and says he's retiring. You fought Jens Pulver back in WEC and have a TKO victory over him back in WEC 36. How important back then was that victory over Jens Pulver, establishing Leonard Garcia as a fighter and getting your name out there to the generalized fan? Remember now, we're talking about, this is back in 2006. So the explosion of MMA since then is way bigger. But even then, that fight was pretty huge, right?
That catapulted me. That turned me into a household name. It was almost like night and day, man. It was amazing. I had just knocked out Takaya, who was like a big superstar in Japan, and then I got like a little bit of notoriety. But after beating Jens, man, it was night and day. it was like surreal. It was a great feeling. I mean, you look at guys like BJ and Jens. I remember sitting on my couch as a kid watching those two guys fight each other, and to see both them, tipping their hats and leaving the game. I mean, I'm 6 fights away from it after this one. I've made a number in my head, and that's how many. I wanted 10 more fights after I got cut from the UFC, and I'm done. I'm out. And seeing those guys be able to do it, man, it's a good feeling, man, because they both, even Jens, he kind of had a little bit of a lackluster performance these last 2 fights, but he's still a legend, man.
And that's the thing I was saying. A lot of people got mad at me because I was saying the last of my era has finally retired. The last of my guys are basically out of the game that came up at the same time in the big piece. I forgot about Robbie Lawler, who is obviously doing an incredible job right now, getting ready to fight Matt Brown. And I apologize to Robbie because I did forget that you are part of our era, that you are part of that group. But BJ Penn is that guy I looked up to as a younger individual. And then we also like, well, hold on, what about Jens Pulver? What about Jens Pulver? I'm like, BJ's still in the UFC. He's still in the big leagues. He's still in the top end of his game. I could still be fighting on the minor leagues too. If I decide to come back out, I'd call Mick Maynard down at Legacy Fighting Champs or Mark Pavlich up at Maximum Fighting Championships, and I'd have a fight within 3 months. And it's not a problem.
Yeah.
I could fight. Would I be worth a damn? Would I be able to vie against anybody else? I'd be nothing but name recognition, getting my head punched in. And that's kind of what Jens was at. Like, kind of, Jens even came out and said he probably should retire 2.5 years ago. And I retired 2.5 years ago. So I went out at the right time. I was like, I just got to get out. I'm not getting any better. I'm getting worse. And it's sad. I'm glad to hear that you have a number and that you're going to stick to that number. That you've got 6 fights left. Well, technically 7. Once you fight Damon Jackson on July 18th, you'll have 6 left. And then you're done. You're out of the way. You've got, with that realization, so when you go in and say Bellator offers you fight one more time, and they offer you eight fights on this contract, and it's more money than you've ever made. If you fight 7 and fight 8, you make a ton of money. Would you stay in to be able to provide for your family just 2 more fights instead of 10? All of a sudden now it's 12.
No, I've man, of course, my spirituality, being in church, all this stuff has been all new to me. It's been a great deal for me, man. I prayed about it. I got the number in my head during, a thing. I had it confirmed by several people, and I feel like that's where I'm gonna be. That's where I need to be. That's when my body, I think I'm gonna love fighting until I'm an 80-year-old man. And I'm probably still gonna think I can do it at that age. But I'm gonna retire after this one plus 6 more, and I'm done. Well, no matter where it doesn't matter if I'm the number 1 contender for the UFC title. I'm opting out.
And that's one of the good things I do like about you, that you're such a stubborn little bastard that you will stick to that number no matter what. You make up your mind and you're just like, nope, this is it. This is all I'm doing. I told you 10, I've got 10, I'm out of here. And that is actually, as an athlete, that is actually very good, because a lot of guys hang on far too long and end up punch drunk, brain damage, and now the family they're trying to provide for is having to take care of them. And it's not going to be right away. It's 10 years later, all of a sudden, the kid's in college, getting ready to graduate, and their dad's drooling, he can't talk right, and he's got Parkinson's on set because of the brain damage and concussive theory, that it becomes a situation, and hopefully you're going to get out of the way before that happens. So, Leonard,
absolutely.
I appreciate you coming on here. That's a huge deal. I'm glad that you've got that number in your head. I'm really glad that we were able to interview you once again as you're going for another victory. It seems like every time that since you've been with Legacy, we've had an interview and you've come out an easy win. Not an easy win, because every win is difficult, but you've definitely come out and stepped up on top and made it look easy at least.
Yeah, man, we're going to have to keep these interviews no matter who I go with, man. You're my good luck interviewer.
I like being one of those charms. I like being that good luck charm, bud.
That's it, man.
All right, good luck. We'll talk to you soon.
I appreciate it, buddy. Take it easy, man.